Alrighty then, it's time for a Jungle Graves game, and technically this is the first one I've ever uploaded. Which one? It's mostly because I have this thing where I try to avoid champions that are overpowered, which to initially. Like the new Malzahar or the Graves on release and stuff. I try to avoid them early on, because it just feels very disingenuous to start saying things like he's an amazing jungler, he's amazing this and this and this and that, because you know they're going to eventually get toned down, so it just kind of feels silly. And then eventually when they do get toned down, I just sometimes get lazy and never pick them up. So yeah, I've played Graves when he was overpowered before, but never really bothered to upload. And now I decided, you know what, I need more carry junglers, and I'm going to try to practice Graves and get good at him again, or at all. So yeah, this is during one of my practice games with Graves. I was practicing him in normal games, and then in custom games as well, and co-op versus AR, and now I'm finally taking him to ranked. So far, so good. There's two builds I've tried so far. It's the one with Thunderlords, so you can go for that extra punch, and then the tanky Graves, which seems to be the one I like the most, mostly because everybody doesn't seem to ever build any tanks or something, so I tend to want to, not die instantly, so. Anyways, Graves has been tuned down since, since his rework, which was insanely powerful. And yeah, it's still pretty goddamn good. You basically saw that he kind of made a joke with the jungle. He's kind of one of the champions who sort of caused this issue in where sustain is no longer, well, an issue, because he doesn't even take any goddamn damage, because due to the way his shotgun works and whatnot. Basically, sustaining in the jungle has become pretty much irrelevant. But it's become irrelevant in necessary for grading champions. It's basically, can you avoid taking like a fourth of your health and damage, and if no, then you suck. It's like there's champions like Jarvan who get their ass beat by the jungle, and so on and so forth, right? And those champions are significantly weaker in this season and meta. So champions like Graves, Kindred, and other sustained champions like more really quick champions like Nidalee just kind of make a joke of it all. So it's kind of a shame. Nonetheless, though, it goes without saying that Graves is definitely fun. Prior to his rework, he was probably one of my go-to AD carries. If I was ever forced to play AD carry, I would play him and Varus. Mostly Graves because he's got that explosive power just to, fuck shit up. If someone gets out of position, you can just absolutely giga wreck them. He still pretty much does have that, although it will slow down a little bit because of how his Q works and with the whole bouncing thingy and how slow his reloading is. So yeah, there's definitely, some meta weakness to it, but that's something you guys probably already know by now. Anyways, the early game is a little bit back and forth. Some of my teammates are very rambunctious. They're trying to go in for kills and whatnot, and they get really hurt, so now they're forced to be on the defensive. Like you can see Darius, he constantly goes in and tries to fight the Yasuo. It doesn't really go his way because either Rek'Sai shows up or Yasuo outwits him, and then he goes back to heal. The enemy Twisted Fate also is ridiculously just dumb. He kind of teleported in with basically no mana. I think he only had enough for one card, and it was a blue card. So he completely botched this and got two of his teammates killed. Well, he survived, having to burn all his summoner spells. So yay for what, except Ghost. But yay, Twisted Fate, you really suck. But you'll see. You'll see that sometimes, calling a player bad is not exactly, inaccurate or just unfair. You'll see things. Anyways, my teammates overcommit for the Rek'Sai while me and Morgana try to run, and unfortunately she has to sacrifice her life in order for me to live. Cassiopeia gets chased out like the animal that she is and gets absolutely murdered. So yay, we kind of threw away our little advantage there. Anyways, I stick around with Lucian to defend bottom lane when we both burn our ultimates, and we managed to save this tower just by a teensy tiny bit. Also, again, the enemy Twisted Fate almost came super close to dying because he just had to throw those wild cards. Morgana gives a bit of a chase, but it doesn't really come to anything. You can see the Scion's still sticking around, and Lucian kind of wants to get him down. And Darius finally gets a kill on the Yasuo, so he's pretty happy with that. Anyways, Graves, so far, yeah, the practice has gone fine. My biggest issue with him, though, is just pretty much team fighting, mostly because his range works against him. And unless you're super fed, and I can evolve the games I play with him, and unless you're super fed in team fights, you just kind of have this really weird time in which you can't really hit the targets you want to be hitting. So just kind of hoping for someone to be out of position or something. Anyways, Twisted Fate teleports in. He gets caught in just a bunch of things. He didn't even have a card ready, so he ended up throwing a red card. Thankfully for him, Cassiopeia was super low anyways, and the Scion caught up to her, so he got a kill off that. But it kind of was a kill that almost wasn't there. Now we're all sort of sieging good. By the way, also again, the super sustain again for Graves might as well be positive sustain, because if you're not gonna take damage later on down the line, you're just basically able to use the jungle monsters as healing, which is something that was normally attributed to champions like Aatrox and Aatrox and Warwick and Fiddlesticks technically. So, but now champions like Graves and Kindred can just basically use it as basically free health whenever they need to. Shenanigans, right? Anyways, go in, do a bunch of damage to Twisted Fate. That wasn't really the best ultimate combination. I really overestimated my damage on that, but we still got Scion. The enemy Yasuo tries to attack us from the side. Darius comes in, and we actually burn a lot of their summoner spells, so technically it wasn't a huge loss in that. So, hooray for us. Also, Darius just burned his Rando Endowment for basically no reason. We take a basically dying tower, we go for the next one, and the Darius goes pretty ham. Goes in for the Jhin and the Yasuo. He gets exhausted, so nothing comes of it. Rek'Sai tried to counterattack us, but she got a little too close to us, and basically got hand blasted by 4 people, and Yasuo comes in too. He got hand blasted, Scion re-engages. Twisted Fate teleported in where nobody really was, and he got smoke screen, so now he's next to Darius, who will basically cut him in half. Hooray for Twisted Fate. You didn't even have a card ready, I think. I didn't pay that much attention. So yeah, the enemy team basically did the whole meat grinder thing where they walked in on us just to die. I mean, I ended up dying there because I pretty much did not respect Scion's Q or the range of it, so I got cleaved by for the little bit of health I had. So yeah, that was my stupid mistake. But yeah, the enemy team just went full stupid there. Nonetheless, the game is still in solo queue, and you can tell it's pretty long, so a lot of things can happen. Spoiler alert. Anyhow, I'm monopolizing red. I'm monopolizing the chicken vision, mostly because it's become a little bit of a dragon fight. Rek'Sai has been very good about controlling dragons, mostly because that's kind of all he's been doing. Anyways, for some reason, Scion and Yasuo are pushing non-stop top tower, which means they're gonna get. Which anyone with any sort of reasoning ability would realize that sneaking around that long is gonna attract the ire of the enemy team. So they get easily caught and destroyed, which allows us to, well, basically start getting recontrol the map. They push down mid tower, and then we sort of just can't really push them back. Technically, they gained 2 towers out of their sacrifice, but it sort of lost them all their members, and is gonna lose them their. Well, it's not gonna lose them the tower. They're gonna be able to repel us. But yeah, basically they're now working together. If the alt chat wasn't a big indicator of them cussing at each other, then yeah. Or I mean, if the alt chat wasn't a big indicator of them not working together because they're just kind of cussing at each other, yeah. Anyhow, we recall, we're regrouping, and I'm buying the kind of stock build of Graves. I haven't really tried to have many builds with him. I've only kind of altered the final build, like the Giant Slayer or the Bloodthirster, but I'm mostly always getting the Yomu's Ghostblade because the mobility and everything's good. By the way, I fucked up my Q, I fucked up my auto attacks because the tower's blocking him, I missed my ultimate. Man, I fucked up a shitload there, and I think if I hadn't fucked up all that, we probably would have killed Rek'Sai a lot easier before overcommitting too much to the tower and getting murdered. Basically that war here was a combination of a lot of failures, and a lot of them came from me. So hooray for me, I got my team basically killed. Or he's like, I was a major component to us kind of failing there. So even though we end up killing a couple people, and even though the Twisted Fate walks to the fucking tower and technically walked in onto the poison, we would have only come out of that with 1 kill. So yeah. But yeah, wait, I just gotta say, yeah, the Twisted Fate, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with him. He basically drunk off his ass. Anyways, Darius goes in to stop the Baron. He kills the Jhin. I don't even think he needed to burn his flash. Then we chase after the Scion, and he gets caught and obviously killed. Also, he burns his flash. It's like, what is he gonna do with that little bit of health? So, I don't know. This flash economics are not working out here. They're on flash food aid. Anyways, we go for Baron, and obviously this isn't a great idea, but my team is like Baron, 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 because they're very worried about us throwing. But thankfully, nothing negative comes of it except getting a little bit attacked. And technically, we're gonna lose some of our jungle control just because Rek'Sai ended up warding a bit. And I think he also stole some of my camps, but it doesn't really fucking matter. We try to swipe the Twisted Fate from the behind, he just backs away, and Dragon's about to respawn. In comes a weird little tiny fight. They were a little corridor, and if we were kind of grouped up, we would have come positive from that. And Yasuo swipes me from behind, absolutely wrecks me. And then Twisted Fate just kind of walks into a death trap, even though he should have known that, because that Morgana was basically aiming. Morgana dies, Lucian comes in, really chunks them heavily, but they won't die in this. Cassiopeia comes in, manages to clip the Scion to slow him down, and then Lucian guns the zombie down. Unfortunately, Lucian can't chase down the Yasuo or the Jhin, and the Rek'Sai is just nowhere to be seen. All this, in the meantime, Darius is pushing up top lane, so now we gotta set ourselves another tower there. Again, the enemy team just seems very disorganized. I feel if they were kind of, you know, on the ball with each other, they have enough synergy within their abilities that they'd be able to take down my team. But they're just kind of, you know, wild spirits right now. Anyway, Scion goes in. This is kind of what I mean. If they had worked together a lot earlier, they might have, you know, done something right. But if you saw, if you rewind it, you can see in the team fight that it seemed half the members were starting to back off, while the other members were deciding to go in. If they had all decided to go in, they might have won that, because honestly, that whole Scion ultimate and then the Yasuo follow-up was pretty good, but it just seemed the rest of them weren't responding appropriately, so my team was able to sort of recover from that. So, yeah, they got absolutely good wrecked there. It's a situation like this, it's where, it's when people say, Stomo, when you have a Yasuo teammate, why don't you pick someone that has knockups and that? It's because sometimes, even if you have synergy within your team, you can't really trust your teammates to, you know, to work as a team. And you just kind of have to pick sometimes solo queue oriented champions, or hopefully recognize somebody that will work with you, or someone that will kind of just be forced to work with you. Anyways, we engage against the enemy team, or at least me and Darius do, and Darius doesn't manage to kill the Jhin, so he ends up dying as a result. I think he's got Guardian Angel, but it's not going to come in with anything. Twisted Fate teleports onto me. It doesn't really manage to kill me until Lucian comes in. By the way, again, the Twisted Fate keeps teleporting in with basically no mana to be able to do anything. Scion chases me, dodge over the wall again, and then he gets gunned down, or at least he just kind of has to chase us as zombie mode. And then the enemy team gets wiped out. Again, you saw the enemy team, there was like 3 members up here, and then 2 members down there in different positions. They're just not working together. It's just some basic communication would work. Fortunately for them, 2 of my teammates go in to take the inhibitor and throw away their lives. But still, though, my team is quite ways ahead. Unfortunately, though, if you look at the replay, the kill the gold spread, or at least the gold difference, isn't as massive as you would think, given, you know, 14 kill difference. So, in the long run, yeah, if the enemy team was more coordinated, it does seem like they would have had an advantage, or at least eventually get more gold. I burn my flash to escape from them. Yasuo comes in, pretty much burns his ultimate, I believe, and actually managed to cut me a bit. But he also doesn't manage to kill me until I shoot him in the face, and then I die. And then the rest of the enemy team basically gets cleaned up, and that's pretty much it. Like I said earlier, I have one of my bigger issues right now with learning Graves is just kind of figuring out what to do with in team fights, mostly because your range is too low to do a lot of whole things, and you're not really an initiator of any kind, so it's kind of having those difficulties. Though I have been told that Graves' late game tends to be kind of shitty as a result of that, and more like an early game dominator. Either way, he's definitely fun, and you can see my match history that I've been trying to practice him a whole lot. So expect to see him expect to see me play when I stream. Hooray! This channel is supported by my sponsors, Crunchyroll and Loot Crate. Check out the description below for links to the websites. Signing up for any trials, including Crunchyroll's free anime trial, greatly supports my channel. Also remember to give the video a like to support the channel and subscribe if you haven't yet. I've also made a Patreon now, and if you wish to support me through that medium, then I welcome it.